Micah Trent wiped the sweat from his brow as the heat from the forge pressed against his neck. The scrapyard of Viral 9 stretched endlessly around him. Twisted metal towers, broken starships, and alien machinery piled in chaotic heaps. Most humans avoided this place. Aliens thought humans weak, fragile, and not worth the trouble. Micah, however, thrived where others feared to tread. He had a curiosity that refused to be silenced, hands that could repair almost anything, and a mind that refused to stop thinking. The Emperor's envoy had brought him here earlier that day, a small, snide smile curling across the alien's face. "Human," it said in a voice like grinding metal. "Try not to break it." The creature stepped aside, revealing what Micah instantly recognized as a dragon bot. Its wings were shredded, circuits burned, and eyes flickered like dying embers. It had once been a weapon, a marvel of alien engineering, now reduced to a useless, pitiful heap. The Emperor himself had handed it to Micah, claiming it was a joke. "I wonder how long it will last in human hands," he had said. Micah knelt beside the dragon bot, studying its broken frame. There was no fear in him. Only thought. He ran his fingers over scorched metal plates and cracked circuits. Beneath the destruction, he sensed a complex pattern, a faint pulse that suggested the creature was not entirely dead. Even a broken machine like this could be awakened. Even a human could fix what the aliens thought was impossible. He started pulling apart the wreckage carefully. Sparks flew as he reconnected wires, replaced melted conduits, and reshaped metal plates with crude tools. Hours passed. Every adjustment felt like a gamble. One wrong move could short-circuit the dragon bot completely or trigger a fail-safe that would destroy it. Micah's heart beat faster with every small success. By evening, the dragon bot twitched. Its wings shuddered as though testing old muscles, and its head lifted slightly, trying to focus. Micah's breath caught. A flicker of hope surged through him. "You're not done yet," he murmured. "Not while I'm still here." He had almost convinced himself the creature was beyond repair when a deep hum started in the dragon bot's chest cavity. Its eyes lit up, low at first, like a candle struggling against the wind. Then, faintly, a voice, a broken robotic echo, whispered, "Fly. Help." Micah froze, staring at it in disbelief. Not words, not commands, but a plea. Something intelligent, something alive. A sudden clanging noise made him jerk back. Alien guards patrolled the scrapyard at intervals, faster and more alert than he anticipated. One of them had spotted movement near the dragon bot and was heading his way. Micah's mind raced. He had no weapons, no escape routes. He grabbed a piece of scrap metal and pressed himself against a half-dismantled starship hull. The guard passed, scanning, clicking, and whirring. Micah held his breath, feeling the sweat run down his spine. When it finally moved on, he exhaled slowly, relief washing over him. But there was no time to linger. He had to finish the work before anyone else noticed. Night fell. The scrapyard was silent except for the hum of machines and the occasional drip of molten metal cooling in the pits. Micah continued, working by the dim glow of salvaged lights. His hands ached, cuts ran down his arms, and the smell of ozone filled his nostrils. Still he pressed on. Every wire reconnected, every spark bridged, every plate secured brought the dragon bot closer to life. By midnight it was enough. Micah backed up a little, watching, waiting. The dragon bot's eyes glowed brighter, steady now. Its chest lifted and fell with effort, wings twitching as if remembering long-forgotten movements. Micah felt a surge of pride and fear at the same time. He had never dealt with anything like this. One wrong move now could trigger destruction. The creature made a low growl, mechanical but unmistakably filled with emotion. It was awareness, recognition, trust. Micah reached out slowly, placing his hand on its head. The dragon bot leaned into his touch, a sound like a choked sigh escaping its metallic throat. "You made it," Micah whispered. His voice trembled, not from fear but from wonder. "You're alive, because of us." Suddenly, a new sound tore through the silence, the distant, deep rumble of engines. The scrap piles shook as massive alien vehicles approached. Zitharax's patrols. They had been alerted and now they were coming for him. Micah's pulse quickened. He had no choice. The dragon bot stirred beside him, wings twitching violently, sensing the threat. He glanced into its glowing eyes. It understood. It would fight, but together they would need to escape. His mind raced for a plan, any plan, that could let them survive the night. The night was no longer quiet. Shadows of danger closed in. And in that darkness, a human mechanic and a dragon bot, both underestimated, both dismissed, prepared to defy an empire. The patrols moved closer, their engines shaking the scrapyard, sending loose metal clanging in warning. Micah crouched behind a scorched starship hull, the Dragonbot beside him, wings quivering. Its glowing eyes followed every shadow, every ripple in the night. The patrols weren't just fast, they were relentless, designed to crush anything that dared oppose the Emperor. Humans were supposed to be easy prey. Tonight Micah would prove them wrong. He whispered to the Dragonbot, "Stay calm. Follow my lead." His voice trembled slightly, not from fear but from the weight of the moment. This was bigger than repair work now. It was survival. His hands scanned the ground, searching for anything useful. A loose panel, a severed wire, a shard of metal, anything he could turn into a tool or trap. The first patrol drone appeared, moving silently over the debris. Its sensors glowed red, scanning for heat signatures. Micah's heart hammered. One wrong move and they'd be torn apart. He noticed the Dragonbot twitching its head, detecting the drones even before their lights swept the area. Micah realized that the creature's sensors, damaged though they were better than his own eyes. He nodded at it. "Trust him." Micah pulled a dangling cable from a broken engine. With a spark and a hiss, he rigged it to the metal hull, creating a makeshift tripwire. The first patrol drone stepped on it, the cable sparked, and the machine jerked violently, sending it off balance and into a stack of metal crates. The crash echoed through the yard. Micah ducked instinctively as the patrol's other drones scanned frantically. The Dragonbot let out a low, mechanical growl, its voice almost human in its anger. "They follow." It was speaking in broken phrases, but the meaning was clear. They were tracking them. They wouldn't give up. Micah felt a surge of respect for the creature. This was no mere machine. It was alive, thinking, aware, and now an ally in a battle it hadn't asked for, but chose anyway. Micah's mind raced. He had only a few minutes to act. He couldn't outrun all the drones, there were too many too fast. But he could outsmart them. He darted between metal piles, leading the patrols into narrow corridors where the drone's size and rigidity became a disadvantage. Sparks flew as they collided with machinery, slowed by debris. Micah's heart pounded with exhilaration. Every movement was dangerous, every choice critical. Yet he felt alive in a way he never had before. As they ran, Micah noticed something unsettling. The Dragonbot's energy core flickered, the lights dimming slightly. Repair work had revived it, but sustaining its full power required careful balance. If they pushed it too hard, it could collapse. Micah had no time to fix it now. He made a split-second decision. They would have to move quickly and use ingenuity to compensate. Human thinking, not brute strength, would see them through. They reached a massive metal ramp leading to an abandoned hangar. Micah glanced back. Drones were closing fast. He grabbed a bundle of scrap wiring and tossed it like a net, snagging a hovering patrol. Sparks and cables wrapped around it, bringing it down with a thunderous crash. The other drones hesitated, scanning, confused. The Dragonbot took the opening, dragging itself up the ramp with jerky but determined motions. Its wings, though tattered, flexed and stretched, preparing for movement it hadn't attempted in years. Inside the hangar, shadows swallowed them. Micah pressed himself against a wall, panting. "We're not safe yet," he whispered. The Dragonbot's head tilted, its glowing eyes scanning the dim interior. "They come," it warned. Micah's stomach nodded. They were trapped inside, the entrance narrow, with drones likely encircling them soon. The stakes had risen. Failure meant death or worse. Micah looked around the hangar. Broken engines, crates, and loose panels littered the floor. He realized he could make this place into a trap. Using scraps, he created a line of short-circuiting wires along the exit, connected to panels that would explode sparks when touched. It was risky. One wrong spark could ignite the hangar, but it was their only chance to slow the drones. The first drone approached, sensors scanning. Micah held his breath as the machine stepped onto the trap. Sparks arced violently, lights flaring, and the drone stumbled, colliding with another. Micah moved quickly, dragging the Dragonbot into a deeper shadow. The creature's wings flared slightly as it prepared for action, responding to his unspoken command. Micah's mind raced faster than ever. He had no weapons, no allies, and the Emperor's forces were closing in. Yet he refused to panic. Every human instinct he had, curiosity, determination, intelligence, fueled him. He was a small, fragile creature by alien standards, but he had an edge they could not predict, the ability to improvise, to think, and to take risks that defied logic. A sudden crash made him jump. One drone had broken through the traps and was moving toward them. Micah grabbed a heavy metal rod and braced himself. He swung, smashing circuits exposed by the Dragonbot's sparks. The drone sputtered, sparks flying, smoke curling. The DragonBot lunged, knocking it off balance with a calculated sweep of its remaining limbs. They were alive, but the threat was far from over. Micah crouched next to the DragonBot, breathing heavily. "We can't keep running forever," he said. "We have to think, and fast." The DragonBot's glowing eyes met his, unblinking, full of trust and expectation. It understood the plan even before he voiced it. Then in the distance, a low rumble shook the hangar, deeper than any patrol engine. The ground trembled beneath them. Micah's stomach turned. This wasn't just patrols. Something bigger, more dangerous was coming. Something Zitharax himself would send if the human dared defy him. Micah tightened his fists, feeling a surge of resolve. He glanced at the DragonBot. "We survive," he whispered. "No matter what comes next." And at that moment, the hangar doors shuttered under a new, massive force approaching. An impossible enemy, and a challenge unlike any they had faced yet. The rumble shook the hangar again, louder this time. Micah's heart slammed against his chest. Whatever was coming, it was bigger than the patrols. He glanced at the DragonBot, its eyes glowing bright but flickering with uncertainty. Its wings stretched, trembling as if testing muscles unused for decades. Micah's mind raced. They had survived drones, traps, and smoke-filled corridors, but this new threat was different. From the shadows emerged a massive war walker, a towering machine of alien design. Its legs smashed metal piles as it advanced, sensors scanning, energy cannons pulsing with lethal intent. The patrol drones seemed small and foolish compared to this monstrosity. Micah swallowed hard. Most humans would have frozen. He didn't. Humans adapted, he reminded himself. Humans survived. Humans found solutions where others saw only death. He crouched low beside the DragonBot. "Listen," he whispered, "we need to think smarter. Not faster." He scanned the hangar, eyes darting over broken engines, sparks, panels, and cables. Inspiration struck. The war walker was heavy, fast, but its joints were exposed, vulnerable. If he could lure it into a trap that used the hangar's tight space and all the scrap around them, maybe, just maybe, they could stop it. Micah grabbed a coil of conductive wire and motioned to the DragonBot. It tilted its head, understanding without words. They moved quickly, using the shadows, dragging wires across the floor, connecting them to scrap panels and engines. Sparks flew as they rigged a series of improvised tripwires and short circuits. Every movement was calculated, every second counted. The war walker's sensors flared as it entered the hangar, scanning. Micah's stomach twisted. A wrong move now could mean instant death. He steadied his breathing. "Trust your instincts," he muttered to the DragonBot. Its glowing eyes focused, wings twitching in readiness. They were partners now, a human and a machine against impossible odds. The war walker stomped forward, smashing a metal crate. Sparks flew. Micah ducked behind a support beam and threw a metal shard, hitting one of the walker's legs. It jolted, surprised. Micah grinned. Small victories mattered. The DragonBot lunged, using its damaged limbs to strike another joint. The walker stumbled, but not enough. They needed more. Micah remembered the damaged starship engines piled nearby. He ran, dragging the DragonBot beside him, and began connecting wires from the engines to the floor, creating a conductive trap. Sweat ran down his face. Sparks hissed and arcs of electricity leapt as he made final adjustments. One wrong step and the hangar could explode, taking them both with it. He forced himself to focus, each thought precise, deliberate. The DragonBot stretched its wings and emitted a low, resonant hum. Its energy core was stabilizing, feeding power into the traps Micah had rigged. It looked at him, almost human in its expression, and Micah felt a surge of emotion. Fear, pride, and determination mixed together. They were alive because they trusted each other. They would survive because humans never gave up. The war walker took another step, metal clanging, energy pulses flaring. Micah signaled to the DragonBot. Together they moved. Sparks flew as the DragonBot smashed panels into the walker's legs, and the human dodged energy beams, guiding the creature into the trap. The short-circuiting wires arced, sending lightning surging into the walker's joints. It screeched, smoke and sparks flying from exposed circuits. Micah's heart pounded. "Now," he shouted. The DragonBot leapt, knocking a heavy engine onto the trap. Energy surged through the walker, circuits overloaded. It stumbled violently, metal legs buckling under the assault. Micah ran alongside the DragonBot, dodging falling debris, and they ducked as the war walker crashed into a pile of scrap. Sparks rained down, smoke filled the air, and the hangar shuddered. For a moment, silence. The smoke cleared slightly and the war walker lay still, incapacitated. Micah breathed heavily, feeling the adrenaline drain. The dragonbot flexed its wings, trembling but alive. They had done it. Against impossible odds, they had outsmarted the Emperor's weapon. But Micah knew the victory was temporary. The Emperor would not stop with one machine. He would send more, faster, smarter, deadlier. And the dragonbot, though awake, was still weak. Micah knelt beside it, feeling the pulse of its energy core. "You're stronger than anyone expected," he said softly. "And together we're going to survive and fight back." A sudden vibration ran through the hangar. The walls shook. A low, metallic growl echoed, not from the walker, not from the patrols. Something else was coming. Something alive. Micah froze. The dragonbot stiffened beside him, wings bristling. Whatever it was bigger, older, more dangerous than anything they had faced. Micah's pulse quickened. He glanced at the dragonbot. It looked at him, unblinking, glowing brighter. They had survived the drones, they had outsmarted the walker. But this new threat was a challenge they had never imagined. Every instinct screamed to run. But Micah clenched his fists. Humans survive because they refused to give up. Humans survive because they fought. He whispered, barely audible over the creaking metal, "Whatever comes next, we face it together." Outside, the hangar doors rattled violently. The shadows moved differently now, heavier, slower, filled with a weight that promised destruction. Micah's mind raced. One mistake now could mean death. Yet he felt a surge of clarity, of purpose. They had survived impossible odds before. They would do it again. The dragonbot's hum rose, a warning and a promise. Sparks flew across the hangar floor, and the air grew tense with anticipation. Micah glanced at the approaching shadow, a form so massive it blocked out part of the hangar's dim lights. He felt fear, yes, but also something else. Determination, courage, and the certainty that humans, no matter how small or underestimated, could still change everything. The shadow moved closer, and the first metallic roar echoed through the hangar. Micah's eyes narrowed. He swallowed. "Then let's show them what humans can do." The shadow that had loomed at the hangar entrance moved closer, revealing a massive, serpent-like war machine. Its scales of black metal shimmered under the dim lights, energy cores pulsating along its spine. It hissed, a deep mechanical growl that made the floor tremble. Patrol drones scattered before it, crushed under its weight. Micah's stomach knotted. This was no ordinary patrol or walker. It was the Emperor's elite enforcer, designed to crush rebels before they could think of resisting. He glanced at the dragonbot. Its wings stretched fully now, damaged but capable of flapping. Sparks ran across its joints as it flexed, ready to move. Micah's heart pounded, but he did not hesitate. Fear had no place here. Humans survived because they acted even when the odds were impossible. "Follow me," Micah whispered, gripping a rusted pipe for balance. The hangar's piles of scrap became cover as he led the dragonbot toward a service ramp that exited into the open sky. The serpent war machine lunged forward, crushing metal debris, its sensors locking onto them. Its roar shook the hangar as if the walls themselves would collapse. Micah felt the tremor through his hands and knees, but he forced himself to focus. Every move now was life or death. The ramp was narrow and the dragonbot struggled to keep pace. Sparks flew from its damaged wings and Micah could feel the strain. "Almost there," he muttered. "Just a little more." The war machine crashed behind them, scattering loose panels and sending shards of metal flying. Micah ducked instinctively, feeling the heat of the energy beams singe the air near his face. As they reached the exit, Micah noticed the patrol drones regrouping, blocking other potential escape routes. He cursed under his breath. There was no room for error. Humans weren't the strongest, but they were clever. He scanned the hangar for a solution. Overhead, an abandoned crane hung precariously. Its cables were frayed but still held weight. If he could trigger it. "Stay with me," he said to the dragonbot. Timing would be everything. He ran toward the crane controls, flipping switches and levers in a frantic, improvised sequence. Sparks flew and the cables groaned under tension. The serpent war machine lunged, sensors locking on, its roar deafening. Micah's hands ached, but he pushed harder, forcing the crane's hook downward. The dragonbot followed his lead, flaring its wings and slamming into the war machine's side. The impact staggered it, just enough for the hook to latch onto one of its massive limbs. Metal screeched as the crane lifted, twisting the machine off balance. The serpent fell, crashing into the hangar floor, sparks and smoke filling the air. Micah's breath came in short, sharp gasps. They had survived, momentarily. But there was no time to celebrate. Zithrax himself was arriving. Micah knew the Emperor would not tolerate a human who dared to awaken a dragon bot, let alone outsmart his enforcers. He could see the faint glow of the Emperor's flagship descending from above, massive and imposing, blocking out the stars. Patrols swarmed from every side, faster and smarter than before. Micah looked at the dragon bot. Its wings were trembling, energy cores flickering, but its eyes glowed with determination. "We fight together," he said. "No backing down." The dragon bot responded with a low growl, almost human in its emotion. It understood. They dashed through the hangar exit into the open sky. The wind tore at their faces, the vastness of Viral 9 stretching below them, alien cities glittering with cold light. Micah clung to the dragon bot, his legs braced against its sides. Every instinct screamed danger, but he forced calm. Humans thrived where others faltered because they adapted, they improvised, and they never gave up. The patrols pursued, jets and walkers converging, but Micah's mind worked faster than their sensors could track. He pointed to clusters of debris floating in the lower atmosphere. The dragon bot twisted midair, using its wings to kick loose panels and engines into the pursuing patrols. Explosions erupted below as drones collided with the wreckage. Micah's heart surged, not with joy but with focus. Every calculated move bought them time. Then, Zitharax appeared in person on a hovering command platform. The Emperor's voice boomed across the sky, amplified by alien technology. "Human," he spat, contempt dripping from every syllable. "You overstep. You will pay." Micah felt a surge of fear. No human had faced Zitharax and survived, but it passed quickly. Fear was a tool, not a master. Courage, wit, and determination were the weapons of survival. He whispered to the dragon bot, "We end this now." Using the combined weight of the creature's wings and his own ingenuity, Micah guided the dragon bot into a steep dive, dodging energy blasts while leading the patrols into a canyon of jagged metal and rock. The enemy's formations fractured under the tight terrain. The dragon bot's damaged wings flapped furiously, each beat calculated, each maneuver precise. With a final, daring move, Micah triggered a concealed energy conduit, amplifying the dragon bot's limited power. A pulse shot out, disabling the remaining drones and sending shockwaves through Zitharax's command platform. The Emperor's shields flickered. Micah's heart pounded. This was human ingenuity and courage at its peak. A single human standing alongside a machine defying an empire. They landed on a high plateau overlooking the wrecked patrols. The dragon bot sank to its knees, exhausted, wings trembling. Micah knelt beside it, feeling the rush of adrenaline, the weight of survival. He looked down at the battlefield below. Alien patrols broken, machines destroyed, the Emperor's forces humbled, temporarily. Humans had won a battle that seemed impossible. But Micah knew this was not the end. Zitharax would regroup, stronger and more furious than ever. The dragon bot, though fully awakened, still relied on him. And the skies of Viral 9 held more threats than he could yet see. Micah straightened, hand resting on the dragon bot's glowing head. "We survived today," he said. "Tomorrow, we fight smarter, harder, together. No matter what comes, humans don't give up." The dragon bot's low growl was almost a laugh, almost a promise. Together they would face the impossible, and win. And above them, in the shadows of the stars, Zitharax watched, fury in his eyes, realizing that a human, one small, clever, relentless human, had already begun to rewrite the rules of his empire. The sky above Viral 9 burned with the glow of the Emperor's fleet. Ships thrummed with energy, patrols swarmed, and Zitharax himself descended in a colossal command vessel, his shadow blotting out the stars. Every alien under his command was focused on one target, Micah Trent and the dragon bot. Most would have panicked. Most humans would have fled. Not Micah. Humans survived against impossible odds because they never gave up. He crouched on the rocky plateau, dragon bot beside him, wings fully extended though shaking from exertion. Its energy cores glowed steady now, restored by the improvised conduits Micah had rigged earlier. It looked at him, eyes bright with trust, almost human in expression. Micah felt a lump in his throat. This creature had chosen to follow a human, to fight alongside a fragile species dismissed as weak. And he would not betray that trust. "Here they come," he muttered. The first wave of alien ships swooped down, weapons primed. Energy beams slashed through the sky. The dragon bot shifted, wings slicing the wind, ready to strike. Micah gritted his teeth. Every moment mattered. Every decision could be their last. He began to move, guiding the dragon bot through the jagged canyon below the plateau. Using every scrap of terrain to their advantage, They weaved between cliffs and floating wreckage. Alien lasers slammed into rock, exploding in showers of sparks, but Micah stayed focused. Each obstacle became a tool, each threat a challenge to outthink. Humans survived because they could improvise where brute force failed. A massive alien walker surged from the fleet, larger and faster than anything Micah had faced. He signaled the Dragon Bot. Together, they lured it into a trap he had prepared, a canyon lined with unstable metal piles and concealed energy conduits. Sparks arced, cables twitched, and the moment the walker stepped forward, Micah triggered the pulse. Electricity surged through the conduits, sending the massive machine crashing into the jagged cliffs. Smoke and fire filled the air, masking their movements. Micah's pulse raced. He knew this was only the beginning. Zitharax himself was coming. The Emperor's ship descended, energy shields glowing, weapons bristling with destruction. His voice boomed across the battlefield. "Human, you dare defy me? You will kneel, or die." Micah didn't flinch. He glanced at the Dragon Bot. "We don't kneel," he said. "We fight." It responded with a growl, flaring wings. Together they surged upward, approaching the Emperor's ship. Patrol drones swarmed, but Micah used everything he had learned, timing, improvisation, strategy, to guide the Dragonbot past them. Energy beams scattered harmlessly as the Dragonbot dodged, twisted, and struck with precision. They reached the ship. Micah assessed its weak points, the gaps in its shields, the exposed power conduits. His hands moved fast, attaching improvised electrodes from the Dragonbot to the ship's hull. Sparks ran along the surface and the ship's shields flickered. The Emperor's fury echoed across the canyon. "Stop him," he roared. The Dragonbot lunged, smashing into the shield generators, each strike carefully calculated under Micah's guidance. The human's ingenuity paired with alien engineering created a force Zitharax had not anticipated. A single human directing a machine of immense power, turning his own technology against him. Finally, the Emperor's shields collapsed. The Dragonbot let out a roar, a mix of relief and rage, and slammed into the core of the ship. Energy surged outward, disabling the vessel's weapons and forcing it into a spiraling descent. Zitharax's fleet faltered, his drones scattered, his empire's pride broken by one human's courage. Micah landed beside the Dragonbot on the plateau, breathing heavily, covered in soot and sweat. Below, the wreckage of the Emperor's forces glowed like a battlefield of stars fallen to earth. The Dragonbot sank to its knees, exhausted but alive. Micah patted its head, feeling the warmth of victory and the weight of survival. They had done it. Against impossible odds, humans had prevailed. For a long moment there was silence. Then the Dragonbot spoke in its mechanical, halting voice. "Humans, resilient. Worthy." Micah smiled, pride swelling in his chest. This creature, once considered broken, now acknowledged what humans had always known in their hearts. Courage, determination, and intelligence could overcome even the greatest power. Micah looked across the horizon. The Emperor's forces were retreating, regrouping, but the message had been sent. Humans were not weak. Humans could defy, survive, and triumph where others failed. The Dragonbot leaned closer, almost as if bowing, a gesture of respect and trust. Micah felt a surge of emotion he could barely contain. They had survived together. They had won together. "Rest now," Micah whispered. "Tomorrow, we rebuild, we fight, and we make sure no one underestimates humans again." The Dragonbot's glow dimmed slightly as it settled, exhausted but calm, its trust in the human unbroken. Micah stood on the plateau looking down at the world below. The sun rose slowly over Viral 9, painting the scorched battlefield in shades of gold and red. It was a new day, a new beginning. He had been just a mechanic, small and underestimated. Now he was a symbol, proof that humans could stand against impossible odds and emerge victorious. He felt the weight of what he had done. A single human had awakened a dragon, outsmarted an empire's best machines, and survived an impossible assault. Others would hear of this story. Others would see that humans, fragile as they seemed, had courage, intelligence, and spirit unmatched in the galaxy. Micah clenched his fists, feeling determination and pride ripple through him. "We've changed everything," he said quietly. "One human, one choice, can make a difference." The Dragonbot stirred beside him, almost in agreement, its mechanical growl soft and approving. And somewhere above, hidden among the stars, the Emperor Zitharax watched, fury in his eyes. But it was too late. One human had already proven what humans could do. One human had already rewritten the rules of an empire. One human, and a Dragonbot, had created a legacy of courage. Micah looked out over the horizon. He did not know what challenges lay ahead, but he knew one thing for certain: humans would survive. Humans would fight. Humans would rise. And no empire, no matter how powerful, could ever erase that. For the first time in his life, Micah smiled, not just at victory but at possibility. The galaxy had underestimated humans, and that mistake would echo for generations.